All right, good afternoon, or good morning, I should say. I'm Sergeant Hungerford with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Traffic Homicide Unit. This briefing is in reference to a traffic crash that resulted in a traffic fatality that occurred this morning at about 8:30 a.m. in the 7200 block of Hanson Drive North. Two elderly white females were on their morning walk, walking on the side of the road. At the same time, a gentleman, a 20-year-old black male, was northbound on Hanson Drive in an SUV and struck the two females. Both of them were treated by Jacksonville Fire Rescue at the scene. One was pronounced deceased at scene, and the second one was transported to local hospital as in critical condition. This is the 89th traffic fatality in Duval County this year, and at this time the 7200 block of Hanson Road is closed in all directions and will remain so probably for another hour or so. And with that, I'll take any questions.
The two females related, or are they just friends that walk together?
Yeah, friends, neighbors, and they would do their morning walk, and they were just walking on the side of the road in the northbound lane on the right-hand side of the road where they should. There's no sidewalk, so they were in the right spot where they should be walking.
Was he moving a little bit quicker than maybe the 30-mile-an-hour speed?
That's going to be hard to tell from just visual inspection, but I do have detectives that are mapping the scene right now, and probably in the coming weeks they'll be able to do some calculations and they'll determine an approximate speed of the vehicle.
89 seems like a pretty high number for traffic fatalities. Is that high compared to what you've seen?
It's actually down almost, I think last year we were about 120 at this time.
Oh, really?
So down significantly.
Wow.
Did the driver stop and stay? Is he cooperating?
Yes, sir. He stops and he's here on scene, and he's been interviewed. There's no indicators of impairment. Just seems like an accident at this point.
Awfully odd. I mean, the sun's up at 8:30. You should be able to see kind of on a side street. We don't really get a lot of these.
Agreed. Yeah. I don't have an explanation for it at this time.
Was there any cars parked in the road, type of thing that he had to maybe avoid and didn't notice the walkers, or?
No, I don't see that at the scene right now. So it looks like he's just was driving down the road and missed them. I don't have an explanation as to why just yet, but the detectives are working on that. There is video, so we'll have a pretty good idea of location of where the strike took place in relation to the roadway. And then there's some damage to the vehicle, so we should be able to get some approximations of speed and go from there.
I imagine that guy's pretty devastated too.
I expect so. Yeah, I didn't get to speak to him, but I'm certain that he's got to be.
In a case like this, where it could potentially be a genuine accident, are there still generally criminal penalties attached to something like this?
So we will do the investigation, and once we've completed that, we'll present it to the state attorney's office. The detective will have input, and the state attorney will make a rendering as to whether criminal charges are filed or if a traffic citation is issued. There will be repercussions. The severity will depend a lot with that interview with the state attorney's office and going over the facts and the evidence that we have.
How old were the females who were walking?
I don't have ages on them, but they were both probably in their 70s.
The one who survived, you mentioned she was in serious condition, life-threatening injuries, or?
Life-threatening injuries, correct. Yeah.
Any indication, I'm guessing you'll look into it, but if you know already, any sort of texting, anything like that, texting and driving?
I don't have any indications of that. I do believe that the gentleman who was driving worked an overnight shift and was coming home from the overnight. So.
Did he indicate, or any indications that he maybe fell asleep at the wheel?
No, sir.
Nothing like that?
No, sir.
You mentioned,
Go ahead.
I was going to ask, you mentioned there was video. Is that from like a doorbell, or?
Correct. Yeah, it's got limited scope, but it is available to us, and we've already looked at it, and we'll have that as part of the case file. Down the road, that'll be available, but not until it's complete.
This is my last question, but how often is it? I know you said not often at all, but that a scene looks like this at this time of day in these scenarios?
It's very unique. This is a unique scene.
Speaking to some of the neighbors, they said they saw a stroller down the street. Was that involved at all?
Yes, the stroller was involved. It was carrying a dog. One of their puppies who probably was had trouble walking, I would guess, or maybe they just wanted to keep him close. We don't know.
Probably took off.
Yeah, dog took off.
But it was, as far as you know, it's two women with the dog.
That's what we have so far. Yeah, and I suspect the dog is probably okay if he took off. So we'll find the dog when we're done. Get it back to a relative.
Sergeant, what's this weekend been like for you guys? It's Labor Day weekend. I saw you yesterday. Has it been busy for JSO?
So we've had four call-outs over the weekend. For a holiday weekend, it's not terribly busy, but tragic nonetheless. I mean, at least 3 people have died, and probably another 3 that are in critical or could die. When those the critical condition or life-threatening injuries, they're dangerous, and there's a window of anywhere from 3 to 7 days that they're really in a whole lot of. It could go either way. It's hard to say. So the three fatalities that we've had so far may be multiplied. It's just hard to say how the recovery process goes. We have fantastic physicians here in Duval County, and Shands in particular, if they can get them there quick enough, they can do just amazing things to save people. But the human body is only, can only recover from so much.
And just your message for drivers that may be heading back home, this afternoon after Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, just be cognizant that road fatigue is a thing. So take a break every once in a while. Switch drivers if you have a secondary driver. And if you're changing lanes, it's just make sure that you're checking your mirrors to make sure that lane is clear. And if you're looking over at the mirrors, sit forward a little bit so you can get a better scope of view. You go from 180 degrees to 270 degrees simply by moving forward 6 inches. So just check the blind spots, and know that 10 miles per hour can be the difference between a dynamic crash with a rollover and a great deal of injury, great bodily injury or death. And 10 minutes or 10 miles per hour is not going to make a whole lot of difference in the time that you arrive from the time you leave. So just be careful. Don't push that envelope of speed. It's safer if you go a little bit slower. That's it.
Thanks, Sergeant.
Thanks, Doc.
Have a good day.
Likewise.
Can I get this